Oh, I'm all very Jordan Spieth today, aren't I? Morning, y'all. Lessons this morning. So off to Torquay and playing tennis later. This greyness needs not turn into too much wetness. So yesterday's question about the President's Cup, it doesn't seem to really, outside of the players and where they're from in the President's Cup, it doesn't seem to travel very well, does it? I think it's a real shame. I get it as well. I mean, I'm not particularly into it, but at the end of the day, you're still talking about some of the best players in the world. I'm still Jordan Spieth. This is obviously what Jordan Spieth looked like. Making his coffee in the morning he won the Open. Right, today's question is I've started doing some live broadcasts again. I did loads a year or 2 years ago, which I love doing. They were just a bit labour intensive, but with the control room at Dan's, it's a little bit easier to handle. What would you like to see in some live broadcasts? So you can get involved and post comments and we react to them, those kind of things. Tell me down there in the comment section, what would you like to see in the next live broadcast? I've been doing them on Facebook and on YouTube. It's club testing. I know there's more we can do than just club testing. That's just kind of to kick us off. Hit that comment section up. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up button. As always, I better go and get teaching. Right, before we look at your numbers, Mike, I'm just going to have a look at this dynamic loft. Yep. We're just going to challenge that number. So what I mean by challenge it is I'm just going to hit one with your club. Yep. Oh.
Straight out of the car.
So I've hit it longer. I've flown that green. I don't think you flew it once. No. I delivered 24 degrees of dynamic loft. Yep. We take mine away, you're averaging 29 degrees of dynamic loft. Club path is averaging 5.3 left, and then your face to path is 0. That correct, so that's the pull. So your path is going this way of the club, and the face is marrying it. How do you put more loft on that club? Do it again? Yeah, so do it the first way you did. We know it's not that way because the face is actually pointing left with the path. So if I was correct, stay where you are. That's an exaggeration, but 100%. Yeah. Handle back, head forward, lines the face up with the path it's travelling on, but adds loft. Yeah. If I make a swing where I make the face add loft on the backswing, so maybe move my wrist like this, and I don't want to hit the ball up into the sky over there, I will have to deliver, because the way you twist it on the way back with your wrist adds loft, and then you manage the loft towards target. I took loft off, so in effect I am taking loft off, don't want to go left, and then that's why you'll see me having impact here. So my backswing, my wrists are going this way. Flattening, that way correct. And then to not go left, I push the handle forwards, I deliver it forwards. So we'll just pause the live lesson there because we're going to go back to it. This is the Instagram lesson today. So we've got a slightly weak grip, same with this student. You're going to see how I change him to help him cope with loft and in turn change his path. And then we see a pattern of swings here where on the way down we see the crumpling on the way through left arm, club flicking forward, similar patterns to what we see with this student. So weak left hand, face probably adding loft, wants to hit the ball target, so pulls the handle back or lets the handle stay back, lets the head overtake, to try and marry that loft up to some kind of path and target. The fixes for this student's day are the same for this Instagram student. Let's show you what I did with it. So to change those numbers, real basic understanding of putting the hands on the club, he would put the hands on the club with the handle behind the head, which is going to encourage that kind of delivery because he encourages a handle lean delivery. Face is now just going to point way right. So I encouraged him to get his hands on the club in a slightly more 2 to 3 knuckle left hand to maybe his 1 with the handle forward of the head. So just this basic adjustment of where you put your hands on was changing his face relationship. We also made sure we tried to work on flattening his lead wrist, his left wrist, because he did want to extend it. cut that wrist at the top, which was encouraging loft deliveries and flicking forwards. Have a look what that did to the numbers. So very different shots.
Yeah.
Not as gameable.
No.
Like they're all missing weight there.
Yeah.
You've got the face 17 closed to a path.
Yeah.
Where before you had it at 0. Before your path was 5.4 left.
Yeah.
So out to in.
Yeah.
Your path now is 2.2 right.
Wow. So
the changes were flying, he was overdoing, and we needed to calm down the face of the path. So he was now flattening wrist, taking loft off. Better hold from the start and setup, which was taking loft off, but still wanted to flip that club forward of the handle, but with some twist in there. Normally golfers will adapt their impact to the new loft, but this student had a heavy cricket background, and cricketers, as a generalised rule, are not afraid to get their wrist funking around down at impact. So this threw the curveball of me having to tell him to try and feel like he was holding the club off. So better grip, flattening wrist, rotating body, and feel like the handle's almost coming through ahead of the head, and holding the face what to him felt to the right. Show you what that did. Too far left starting, but great shape, good loft. 4 from the inside, you were 5 out to in. Face 7 close to that 4, so that's the pull draw. Yeah. We need that only 1 really closed. 24-degree loft, so you're now delivering the proper loft. That's good. That's going in, is it? That's a great shot. And again, going to the back of the green. 27.8 loft, because you called it slightly higher on the face, so added a bit of loft. 3 from the inside and face 3 closed, which is what I missed on the left. Again, that could be 1.
So this high face pattern's another.
Yeah, that's you adapting to that stroke.
Yeah.
Let's answer your questions.
Hi Mark, loving the videos mate.
Hey, bro.
Problem I've been suffering with, particularly it seems on wedge game, got 50-degree wedge here, a bit knackered but still does half the job, is heel strikes. I seem to rather consistently hit the ball out of the heel of the club. You might just be able to see some of those white marks on the heel there. That's from range balls a couple of days ago. Just kind of illustrates the point as to where I seem to be hitting most of my shots in terms of club, on whereabouts on the club. Any thoughts on how I might be able to a bit more consistently hit the middle of the club, particularly with wedge, would be great. Cheers mate.
Right, a few things. First thing, with wedges, the sweet spot isn't always in the middle. So you'll find sometimes good players do hit the wedges a little bit more kind of here, so slightly towards the heel side, because the club joins obviously at the neck and they don't want to go and whack loads of weight out here. So what happens is the centre of gravity of the club, so the sweet spot if you like, moves in towards the neck slightly. If you look at someone like Cleveland, they use this thing called field balance technology where they try and remove weight here, add it a bit more out here to move the sweet spot away from the heel. So you might be a sweet spot tracker, someone who tries to find the sweet spot. So on a wedge, if it's more in the heel, then you'll find it more in the heel. The other big thing that I find with people when they're hitting it out the neck is when they're delivering very high handles, which is why I keep going on about path and plane not being the same, because my path can be 0 swinging at a very upright angle, so basically 90 degrees straight up, and my path can be 0 swinging down at a very, what people would call flat plane. They're separate things. So you could swing straight but with a high handle. Trouble with high handles is the distance between your hands and the club, so and where the ball is altering during the swing in a way that if you don't move this side or try and get out to the ball more, you can hit it way off the toe. Is your hands moving up, which is moving the club in towards you, so everything has to move out. And that's sometimes where you start seeing people shanking short irons because of often those very high handle deliveries. So I would go, if the shot's hitting target and that's fine and you're hitting your distances, then don't worry that they're out of the heel, because you might just be tracking the sweet spot. Or have a look, maybe film yourself from down the line, put a line on your shaft of your club at address. You should be fractionally higher at impact, but not massively. If you're a very high handle deliverer, look at some of my videos talking about that. I've got loads of them. Or go and book yourself a one-to-one lesson. Thanks for the question, it's a good one. So today's lesson kind of really shows how loft is dictating club path for lots of people. His face at the top of his backswing would look open on video, but he had it 0 to a path left of target, but certainly not afraid to present lots of loft. We challenged the loft presented and the path just changed. Didn't even ask him to change path. And this is one of the reasons I see people not change path for years. Because they're wasting time trying to get on plane. Plane's not going to fix loft, twists in the wrist. And we've already established that plane isn't fixing path, they're separate measurements. So by moving loft, we move that player's club path by 14 degrees sometimes. 14 degrees. We didn't even talk about club path. So for the Instagram student as well, it's the same ideas. If you're going to use loft that way, so add loft wanting to hit the ball straight, you're going to have to turn the handle back. Then you will see flip forwards, you will see higher shots because loft is a key factor in if the ball's going up or down. I am going to play tennis. Let me know what you think of today's vlog. I've really enjoyed it. I think it's an interesting one to show the kind of crossover between an online lesson, for want of a better word, always go and get one-to-one. It's much better. Syncing up with a real lesson unfolding and how the player kind of adjusted or not. Hit that comment section up down below. Thumbs up the video as always. If you're liking daily vlogs, don't be afraid to subscribe. Next week is Twitter week. @4golfonline. If you follow me, you send me a swing on Twitter, I'll pick one each day, I'll DM you. If you email me that swing, you'll be on next week's daily vlogs. I am going to play tennis. Have a great weekend, everyone.